Okay. Hello. So this is our second of our Facebook Live community chats where we are bringing on different guests to talk about different related topics to physical therapy, not PT specific, but different topics, things that often come up. And I have two awesome guests today, our special need mom extraordinaires. And we're going to talk about essential oils. And I wanted to tell first how I knew that essential oils could impact me personally. So I used to work with Ann's son, and every time he came in, all of a sudden my sinuses would clear. And I knew there was something going on because a certain time of day, once a week, my sinuses would clear. And so I knew there was something going on and something really powerful about this stuff. And so that was kind of how I started first learning about essential oils.
That's a great story. I didn't know that. And I know we always had talked about oils and how they'd help my son, but that's really great. I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad it can help your sinuses.
Yep, I can now breathe much better.
And then Anne introduced me to Joni, and she started working with my son. And I was like, hey, you have to show everyone how to use this amazing lavender lotion on him with essential oils. And you were like, I know what this is. And here we
are. We all spread the good word. So tonight we wanted to tell you if people are on and want to, the chat feature below, you can type in and Joni, maybe you can help facilitate that for us if you see it on your end, any questions come up. We wanted to, as moms, we wanted to relate to you guys and say, we understand the therapy stuff. We understand that we're busy, and these were some things that entered our lives just by other moms telling us. And we wanted to share a little bit about oils, what they are and how we use them. So if you have any specific questions or why you're listening tonight, what you're curious about, if you type them in the chat live, we can answer, or even if you watch this on a replay later, type them in and we'll make sure that we get to you, and we'll also leave our information if you want to reach out. So Sharon, do you want to talk about what oils are?
Sure. So what are essential oils? I'm sure you've all heard a lot about them. Basically, they're carefully concentrated oils from various plants that are distilled into tiny molecules that can be used in many different ways. The essential oils go into the cells to get rid of the toxins in your body so that your body can help heal itself, and they deliver nutrition as well. Sounds like a mouthful, but we'll get to it and help explain what they're doing. One thing that's very important is the quality of the essential oils when you're looking to use any of them, because they're really affecting your body. So just like any foods or anything that you're using, it's very important, especially as special needs individuals, to not have chemicals in your body, on your body, and disrupting what you're using.
That's right.
Would you like to add anything to that, Anne?
Well, it's good. I think sometimes there's a lot of science behind it, but you don't need to know all that. Basically, it's plants. They're very compatible with humans, and it was ancient medicine for many, many centuries in many cultures. And it's kind of gotten lost in modern world, but now there's a whole resurgence of natural and plant and holistic. And so that's one of the things that attracted me the most to trying essential oils. I didn't know anything about them, but we were so deep in the medicine world and some stuff wasn't working. And I thought, why not? I want to try these other things. And they've been really good. My first experience was sleep. My son didn't sleep very well. I don't know, maybe for you guys too, your kids don't sleep through the night, or maybe they're restless. In front of Shari, there's a little, looks like an I Dream a Genie with mist coming out. That's called a diffuser. And that's one way where you can get the benefits of oils really easy, simply into your body, just through breathing it in, not over it. I mean, you can, but it's just in your room, and it's naturally in the air, and so you get the benefit that way. So with Stephen, he wasn't sleeping, and he was probably 11 at the time. So that's a lot of years with kind of the newborn mentality. As a mom, I was exhausted. He hadn't slept through the night for lots of years. So I tried essential oil of lavender and just put a few drops in the diffuser. I rubbed a drop on his pillow, and lo and behold, the kid slept through the night. And I was astonished. I thought, oh, it's a fluke. Of course, the next night he did it. He slept again. And now I have bottles of lavender in my house. What's intro and just something really simple, but what a difference it made, not only for him and how much better he started to feel, because when you get better sleep, you just feel better. And for me, I was so relieved and thankful for that. So.
Well, what's really cool too about the diffuser, it's just you take the time. It's hard to say, but we'll show you in person or after we give you some of our information. But what's really nice is, depending what you're looking for, if you're looking for calming, so your kids come home from school and everything is crazy, you can put a little peace and calming or stress away or another oil in the diffuser, and it helps your kids. It may help your other children. It certainly, as caretakers, really helps yourself, may help your pets. So, even though, when we first started, it was really to help our special needs child, it's helped our whole family and helped us as caretakers. So that's really kind of a cool thing too. Yeah. But the other thing is, you say, okay, this is great, but my kid's off to school and he or she can't walk around with the machine with them. So one of our big tricks, I don't know if you can see it, is a bandana. So what we did is we take the bandana, we put a couple drops of the oil on, and either tie it around their backpack or their neck, or depending what your need is, and they're like a human diffuser. And everywhere they go, they have the bandana, and the smell stays there. That's a little.
That's why your sinus is clear, Joni.
Yes. I'm putting it all together now. I'm like, the bandana. That's what it was from.
One of our many tricks. So, there are all kinds of ways to do it.
I also had a boy came to the office recently, and he had some motion sickness from the ride in. And I had some peppermint oil, and we just put it on a tissue, and he was just sniffing that. And then we put it on the tissue for the ride home. And I told the babysitter, just put it in the vent so it would just blow in the car so he could feel okay on the way home. It worked really well.
Great.
And you bring up a really good point about, and that's part of the quality that we were talking about. So there are a lot of drugstores or Costco or, many brands now that have those plugins, and they say they have essential oils, but most of those the grade of them are really mostly chemicals and 5% oils. So we just, stand behind Young Living essential oils because there are no additives, everything tested, and the quality is fantastic. So that's a perfect example of, even though it says it, you have to be careful.
Yeah, no, this was actually the Young Living peppermint oil that we just put on a tissue and shoved the tissue in.
Perfect.
Sherry brings up a good point. So just like you're doing PT and it's therapeutic, aromatherapy and essential oil usage is therapeutic. So I didn't just give him lavender one night and he slept for the rest of his life, right? It's a continuous process, but it's certainly supportive to the body. And over time, your cells become more and more healthy and robust, and they start to spend less time pulling toxins out that we all have, right? We live in a world where you can't help a lot of it, but the stuff that you can help, you do your best to try to eat organic and read labels and make choices that are good for your family. So as you use oils over time, it will spend less time pulling out the junk that we've all accumulated, and then more time bringing in the goodness and the nutrition and the nutrients and bring energy to the cells and help the blood move better. So there's all kinds of other benefits on a cellular level. So then your body, when those cells are supported, the body can start to heal where it needs to heal, which is kind of cool.
So I didn't realize that. So it's kind of over time, it can actually play a different role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the cleaner you get, the cleaner your cells get and the receptor sites get cleaned, the communication in the body can be better on a cellular level.
So, cool. So Anne is very good with all this. And when she first told me about it, I was like, that's great. You're my friend. I really don't know what you're talking about, quite frankly. So I know what I'll do.
Oh, Charlie Brown's mother.
So I'll start with toothpaste, and I'll start with shampoo, and I'll start with cleaners, and I'm going to change everything that's around my son and in my house that I already know how to use while I'm learning about the other things, because I'm always, want to research and understand. So I changed everything and most things in my house. And I honestly started with toothpaste because it made sense to me. Okay, I'm putting this in my child's mouth.
Right.
If it's chemicals, that's not good. And the rest is history, but that's how I started. So there's a lot of oil enhanced products that have the oils in them that do the work that Anne's talking about. Okay.
And that's the Sherry, that was the smartest, easiest approach, because you already knew how to brush your teeth and wash your hair and use soap and all those things. And those benefits of oils are just in everyday habits, which is cool. I know you love the lotion. Another thing I
have a problem
was there's a pain cream, and I know, Joni, I'm sure you deal a lot with kids when you're with PT. There can be growing pains, there can be muscular stuff. So that's a product that we've loved because Stephen has cerebral palsy. So for him, there's a lot of muscular stress and even in the bone level. So that Cool Azul pain cream, it's easy. It just goes on smoothly, and we can use it on a massage. So that's been really nice for us. So just some tricks that work in our everyday world.
And we're about ease. So we also like to use a lot of roll-ons. I don't know if you could see this. So this is actually a straight roller also. And what's great, it can go on your wrist, it can go on the back of your neck. One of favorites is called Stress Away. You can figure out what that's for. But again, it's about ease, So, okay, you're grabbing your kid on one side or you're doing your therapy. It's very easy to throw it in your bag and use it. So there's all kinds of things, and it's fun, and you smell great, and, it's really fun. Yeah, what do you have to add?
Ronnie, do you have any specifics that maybe parents have asked you about that we can answer?
Yeah, so two of the big ones. So one was like the delivery methods.
Mm-hmm.
The diffuser is one.
Yep.
The roller. I used the roller on my daughter with the lavender on her feet.
Oh, great.
Trying to help her to sleep. And it seemed to work. Again, I thought it was like a luck thing. And then it was like, no, this is, as long as we were consistent with it, it was helping for sure. But what other kind of delivery methods?
So there's really 3 delivery methods. It's inhalation, which can be what we talked about, the diffuser or just a bandana, or really just any time you're breathing it in. Okay.
I want to add one thing. I'm sorry. Yeah. On the topical side, another thing that I'll do a lot is I'll just put some on the back of his t-shirt. Like, some kids don't like to be touched necessarily. So you can just put it on their t-shirt also, which is a nice little.
Right. So you've got the breathing one, right? Mm-hmm. Inhalation, you have topical. So topical can be, like Sherry said, you can apply it via a lotion. You can apply it directly to the skin. For children under a certain age, we say, and actually even adults too, it really is very individual specific. You can dilute an essential oil with what's called a carrier oil. So that would be a vegetable oil such as coconut oil or olive oil or jojoba. You want to use organic preferably, because these oils are therapeutic. They're organically grown. They're pure. So you don't want to kind of mix a non-organic carrier with that, because you're kind of bringing the pesticides then into a very pure product. So you want to avoid that. But what the What the carrier allows is it just to go into the skin a little bit deeper and to seal it so it evaporates less off your skin. And some people have sensitive skin, so if you dilute it with a carrier, you're not going to get any redness or maybe warming and things like that, especially with kids. When you first apply, I would dilute.
And Joan, you mentioned where you put it on your daughter's feet. The skin on your feet is really tough and strong, so that's a really great place to start.
Yep. And the pores on your feet are very large, so actually it's a great place, especially if someone is sensitive to smell and maybe they don't want it right up in here. It's too
squishy, like the smell of it.
You know, some people don't like, and that's fine. I mean, it's very individual. That's why the feet can be good. And some oils that may be very good for the immune system start to feel crummy this time of year. Some of them are really powerfully strong smells. So just put them on your feet, and then you could still go to work or go to school, and nobody's going to be like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?"
Right.
So that's topical. And then the last would be ingesting. So again, it has to be a therapeutic grade. It has to be high quality to ingest. You wouldn't ingest something with synthetics, obviously. But ingesting, some people prefer just to put a drop under their sublingually, under their tongue, and it goes in really quick through the mucous membrane, especially in situations where maybe you have stomach upset, or even the case of, like you were saying, the little boy in the car. Like it immediately can kind of get into your cells and do what it needs to do.
So anything that is helpful for fever, because I have a kid upstairs with a high fever right now.
Okay, so peppermint is cooling to the body. So anytime you're trying to cool the body system down, peppermint's your go-to.
Okay.
Feet, you can apply it to the feet, and you can apply it even to the back of the neck. There's a little soft spot there. It's called the LC. It's a little, if you put it's kind of like an egg-shaped dent where your skull and your neck meet.
Yeah.
Okay. That is a really good spot because the tissue is thin there and your vagus nerve is there, and it like just quick gets into the body.
Okay.
And it's pretty powerful. So one drop goes a long way, especially with kids.
And then you can reapply it, Joni, probably depending on, watch the fever, but every couple of hours, it's okay to do when you're not going to overdose. Or that's the other thing I love about oils. My son's nonverbal, so a lot of times if he's not feeling well, I'm guessing. And so I can do a lot with essential oils and not worry about interacting with medicines that he's already on for his epilepsy. And I don't worry about me putting too much on. And as Sherry said, one drop is, like, for instance, one drop of peppermint oil equals 18 cups of herbal peppermint tea if you were going to drink peppermint tea. It's distilled in a room. Oh my gosh, I'm looking around. You can't see my room, but like, think of like a 20 by 20 room. That's the size of a stainless steel distillery vat. And that is all filled with plant material that maybe will only give you a liter of oil. So it's really concentrated. That's why they work really well, though, a little bit. So I hope she feels better.
Thank you. Well, you know what I'm doing when we get off.
Yes. Yeah.
Getting my peppermint oil out.
Yeah. If you have any thieves oil, do you have thieves?
I do.
Have you heard of it? So Sherry was talking about the toothpaste before, but we also have it's a blend. It's a weird name, thieves, but it's an old story about some spice merchants that actually were robbing the graves during the bubonic plague. And so people were trapped and getting sick in this port. And it ended up that the reason the robbers weren't getting sick was because they were infusing themselves with herbs and spices in their masks. And so this particular blend is used to help boost the immune system and ward off all the crud that goes around this time of year. So if you have that, I would put that on her feet as well, just because it'll help boost that response.
Yeah.
It will help protect all of you, really, if you throw some on your own feet too, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we just got a question.
Okay.
Dana asked, how often do you need to add drops to a diffuser?
Do you want to go ahead, Cher, since you have your diffuser?
Sure. So depending on what type of diffuser you're using, the one that I have here has you lift it up and it has water inside of it. So what I typically do is I put my water in and I'll put anywhere from 4 to 8 drops in, depending what my needs are. And when the water runs out, it will stop, and then I'll fill it up and put my drops back in. So the only time I would really suggest adding more drops in is if you want it to be stronger or if you want to have some other type of blend. But
that runs 4 to 8 hours depending on which settings you have on it.
Right.
So, and overnight or during the day, that's usually enough. That's more than enough time to kind of keep purifying the air and bringing the benefits of the oils to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And there's some diffusers that you actually, I don't know what type Dana has, but there's some where you actually apply the bottle. You put the bottle right on it, and it lets you, express certain amounts. You can go higher or lower. So that's another way that you have to do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing would be these automatically shut off when they're finished. So that's a nice feature that you don't have to worry about if you left it on your house or you leave it on in the therapy center. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear the best way to clean them, because I find it's tricky to keep them really clean. And then I'm like, okay, well, am I doing more harm than good if it's not like really?
They're really actually simple to clean. You can put a little bit of alcohol in the bottom. So vodka is actually cleaner probably than alcohol. I have vodka in the house. Full disclosure.
Organic, of course.
No, but a little bit of that in the bottom. There's a small disc. It looks like the size of a coin or a nickel in the bottom, and that's the plate that actually breaks up the particles to bring them into the air. And these are all cooling mist diffusers. Some people will ask, can I put it in my humidifier? Can I put it in a heat, like a vaporizer? You don't want to do that for a couple of reasons. One, you don't want to heat the oils, or you kill off all the properties that are therapeutic of them from a scientific standpoint. And then number two, some manufacturers will say don't put essential oils into them because they have plastic parts. Or they may have aluminum parts that are going to get corroded, and then you're going to be having that going into the air. So you don't want to be breathing particles of plastic in. But you just put that little alcohol in there and leave it for maybe 15 minutes. Get a little brush, like an old toothbrush, or some diffusers come with brushes. And you just really, it's that nickel-sized piece is what you're trying to make sure that any oil residue that's built up in there is off.
Yeah. Okay.
And ours are guaranteed for like a year or so. If you ever have a problem, they'll troubleshoot it with you or send you a new one. So that's really handy.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
I think the only other question I had, someone was asking me specifically about attention and focus and what oils help the most with that.
Ooh, there's quite a few. I'm going to hold this up. This is my favorite. Can you see it?
Yeah.
God, it's called an essential oil desk reference. This has so much information about various oils, and you can look up things like that, attention and focus. But specifically I've used, and there's probably maybe a dozen different oils is the short answer for that. But typically there's some ones that are most commonly used and that tend to work for the majority of people. Lavender is one for calming and soothing. Focus, some oils are very specific in their molecular components to help with the brain. So frankincense would be one. Cedarwood is another. And then Young Living actually blends oils particularly intended for specific purposes. So there's one called Brain Power. There's a whole collection called Reconnect. So this was intended to help with those types of focus, processing, connecting the brain. That's where the name came from, the left and right hemispheres. So those are probably the ones I think of most, kind of off the top of my head, most frequently that I use.
Okay.
Barry, anything else that you use? Vetiver is another one. It can be.
Yeah, I use, I'll blend, so I'll take a blend. I'll take vetiver, which is very thick and goopy. It's very rooty. I'll take that and I'll blend it with lavender and cedarwood and put them together. Sometimes I'll put a carrier oil and just throw it, and I put my own roller top on it. So I'll do that. There's also Tranquil, which comes as a roll-on already, which is a nice one. That's more for the calming. But the Reconnect collection is really nice because I think there are four in there, right?
Yep, four.
Four. So the blends are really nice, and it really helps a lot with that focus. So it really, again, depends on the age of your child, or if it's for your spouse or whoever hasn't focus, you can dilute who you need to dilute it for.
There's also one called Genius, and I like that because it's already blended and it has a carrier in it, so it's intended for kids. That's really nice one. Yeah. And
Highest potential, great.
Which one?
Highest potential.
Yeah, that's another.
Like you said, there's a lot of choices. So depending, we have a lot of different ones. So if anybody listening or tunes in would like to smell them or have their children experience them, we could let you do that because everybody's body is different.
The other one,
so how long? Since there's so many options, how long would you suggest to give something a chance to see if it really is going to be helpful?
So we talk about this a lot when we, work with special needs families. A lot depends on what your lifestyle is and how much you're exposed to already. So if you're eating well, if you're using cleaners and lotions and things like that that do not have chemicals, you're going to respond to it much quicker. If you are putting it on and then you're going to McDonald's drive-thru every day, which is pretty convenient, and we used to do before we got so smart, because everything came in a crinkly bag, as you know, which is kind of cool. But the cleaner your body is, the faster you're going to respond to it.
Okay, so like that overall load, your toxin load.
You have to start with one thing, so it shouldn't deter you. You just one step at a time. What's easy, what works in your lifestyle, because if you don't start small, then it's about consistency with anything.
Yeah. I like the toothpaste thing, something you already do every day.
Yeah. And the other piece to the second part to the question, the answer would be sometimes physically you're going to have a response quicker. So like with the fever, that's an example. If you put the peppermint on and that doesn't get reduced, I would try something else, because that should be the physical stuff. Like if people are trying to reduce pain, like a headache or a muscle joint or whatever, muscle ache, that stuff you should see a response within 10 to 20 minutes, maybe even sooner. For some people, it's a minute. It's almost instant. And others, it may take 15, 20 minutes like you would with an over-the-counter type product, right? But when it's an emotional issue, those things can take longer. It can be a much longer process.
And I just want to add, obviously we could go on forever, but something else that's really easy to do if your kids take baths is to take an Epsom salt bath with lavender. So you take Epsom salt, you put a couple drops in, the lavender in, and then you throw it in the tub. And it's really great because it helps calm your child down throughout their body. And then that helps with sleep as well. So that's another easy strategy that has worked well.
Yeah, those baths are really great, and they help to detoxify the magnesium. The Epsom salt, the magnesium in that, and then your sleep is better. right? So then the healing comes from the better sleep. Right? Everything starts to build on each other. It's not just one thing, obviously. And it's not a magic pill, you know? Everybody will say, what do you do for this? And I'm like, well, I had an awesome experience night one. I did think it was almost too good to be true, but for him, it was the thing that connected for him. And sometimes you have to change it up. You know, you change up the lavender to something else. You get too used to something. And other people can use the same thing for years and years and years. So hopefully that gave you a little insight into the world of
yeah, thank you. And we are going to be having, Shari's going to be a guest in one of our developmental play groups next month, so that we can actually smell some of the essential oils in person, which will be fun.
So that's December 4th.
Yeah,
right?
December 4th.
And I'm going to put up now, hopefully it will work. Let's see. No, I'll have to type it in. Where am I typing in? Right on the bottom here?
You should be able to type it in and press send there, but we can always just add it in a comment on the Facebook Live on Facebook.
Okay. Yep.
That might be easier.
I think so, because it's not letting me do it, but that's okay. But so what we'd like to do is we're going to give you a link that you can go on to and let us know if you're coming, or if you just like some information and would like to reach out to us. That will be, you can see that there. And I made a little sign in case. Wait, let's see. There it is.
Oh, look at you.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. And that's our link, but the link will be active. So yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah, and we'll post that in the comments also, so that.
And I'm going to post in the comments. I think it went to everybody, but it might have gone just to somehow it's just in the host chat. But anyway, Joni, you can pop it over there in the regular one, or we can post it later. Tomorrow night, if you'd like to learn more, there is a webinar. It's probably an hour long. It's going to give you much more comprehensive information than what we did. But if you'd like to learn more, I posted a link that you can get online and listen in and learn more about some basics to cover head to toe essential oil issues.
Well, and that's real, and that's about supplements, right? So that's internal, a lot of that.
It's actually an intro to the oil, so it's going to go through about 12 different oils, some supplements, kind of a little of everything. It'd give you an overall view. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you both so much for coming
on. We hope to see you guys soon. And if you have questions after, just type them in and we'll get to you, and reach out if you have.
Perfect.
Thanks, Joni.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks, Ann.